Okie So, what I'm gonna do today is just talk. I don't, I don't have a good enough wired connection to really have you watch me play an online game. And I'm guessing that I don't have RAM that operates at a frequency that's high enough for me to do the streaming and everything else all at once. Because my processor and my graphics card should be able to handle it. I know enough about computers to be knowledged, but I'm also dumb enough to be like, what's the problem? Which is nice, because it gives me little mysteries and whatnot. Those are the best things, unanswered questions, finding the answers. It's like, to some degree, being, uh, what's the word? It's like being an archaeologist of sorts, dusting off old scrolls and whatnot. Like, it's an adventure. And I find that that's what's true about life. It's adventurous. Always find that you, I don't know, that you find something new and exciting. You can always find that. No matter how depressing your life seems at the moment, like it's really out there. Something that will excite you. To me, the thing that I find the most exciting is how connected everything and everyone really is. Because, like, you take opposites, life, death, two states of being, very different. They're connected. You can't have one without the other. If there is no life and there is no death, are you living? No. Are you dead? No. You're non existent. But you exist. Which is two more states of opposition and contradiction. And this is true for all of life. Like, in a weird way. I think that because of all of that, oh, I don't know, because of all of the contradictions that exist in life, we can gain insight into higher, I don't know, lines of thought that exist beyond ourselves and what's around us. But don't get me wrong, this place is beautiful. But if you start to think about how things would stack up beyond this, it just blows my mind at least. Because beyond the existence existence of our planet, we have our solar system. We don't know what is in most of our oceans. What makes us think that we know what's out in space? What makes us think that we know what exists beyond our own universe? Probability would dictate that beyond our own universe there exists a multitude of other universes that are parallel or uh, beyond our time, because theoretically, beyond the existence of what our perceived time is, like right now it's year 2020, but at the same time, the year 1990 still exists, and 200 AD, because even though it's already happened, technically it hasn't happened yet, and it's happening right now. It's like having a larger Schrodinger's cat box. Like, yeah, our universe is one cat in a box, but that goes upward. At least, I don't know, for my understandings of what probability actually means. I mean, numbers and math are what we've determined that make our universe, but from my, I don't know, perspective and view, and I'm not a doctor, and I haven't went to college for theoretical physics, astrophysics, calculus, any of that. My understandings of higher math are are capped at algebra, and even then, I don't know all of the formulas and whatnot. Like, to be honest, I, I understood from a very early age that if you look for a repetition of numbers, you can always find them through some sort of mathematic probability. You can always change an equation to get the result that you want. If if that's true, so are the laws of everything that we see is existing. There's a way to make what you want happen in a sense. But what do you got to do to get to that? Dang, mathematics applied to life as philosophy. It's all connected. It doesn't matter how far away it seems. It'll you'll get there eventually. I I spend lots of time thinking about why everything's so divided. Why do we teach things separately? Because statistics, probability, science, psychology, spirituality, in in a sense, it's all connected. You don't have to look at the world as being either spiritual or scientific. Perhaps it's both at the same time. You never really know how it's going to turn out. It's it's all unknown and known at the same time. The only thing that changes are choices along the way. How we decide to choose to move things and look at things to the end of the outcome that we want. People see different things when looking at the same thing. I I don't know much about religion. I haven't read all of the books yet. But from what I've read so far, it's my opinion that whatever exists beyond us that is a being more powerful is described in every text that I've read thusly. And if that's true, it exists on a level of dimensions that I don't think that I could begin to describe. Cause to be truthful, I I don't really know how to describe what I see myself sometimes. Like, for example, in my view, when looking at the theory of the multiverse, to me it makes sense. Like, why have one space that's ever happening with all of the human minds collectively all gathered in it, and just one species within it, no others, and say that they have free will, but at the same time make others, I don't know, worship other people. Like, I don't know how a supreme being exists for each different religion that there is. I don't think that that could be true. But what if they were all the same being? Because you look at descriptions, maybe you'd be able to determine that. In Christian view, from what I've read and understood, there may be a verse in the Bible that says something along the lines of every knee shall bow and every tongue shall proclaim that the person before them essentially is God. And it's not that I ever had faith, like a doubt that there was an existence beyond everything that existed that I could see. Because part of that is like a feeling. Do you feel the connection to everything that exists? The way that the air moves around you, the way that people's eyes from across the rooms might be judging you. Do you not feel when you stub your toe? The impact alone, you can, I know from experience at least, that when I hit something, I can feel the vibrations go up my bones. I'm kind of a thin person. Maybe it's different from for other people, but my body becomes shaken. My energy inward and my attitude outward can change the environment around me. If I'm not connected to the environment around me, how would that like not happen, you know? Like why would it happen? I've heard stories of people's moms being able to get so angry that the temperature of the room would change. A whole room. She wasn't connected to everything. What was she? Uh, Maybe she was psychic. Mm, no, I doubt that. Other people become aware of a room's sudden temperature drop. Are they not connected to that energy too? 'Cause I've totally been in the room where somebody shot somebody, an angry glare, and suddenly it was like, dude, it got cold in here. And someone is highly upset. But then, there are people that when they get angry, all people can do is laugh because it's just hilarious. I've been there too, laughing because I thought somebody being so angry was funny. But from what I've learned, that also pushes them to a point where it's like their anger just grows and grows every time, every every laugh hurts more and more. Psychologically, I mean, you could be teaching that person from an extent if you're doing that to others at this moment. I just want to turn this into like a flip moment for bullying because man, I'm really against that. Because what you do is teach people behaviors that's okay, and it's not. Your bullying can be imparted on somebody else later on down the line that doesn't even deserve it. And you can teach them things that you yourself wished you didn't learn. So, in that view, you can push a person to learn a behavior that is damaging to them and others around them. And the way that their mentality slips can go in directions that you don't really want them to go. You could drive a person to dislike laughing so much that it makes them snap and become violent, which is a shame because laughing is so much fun. Why rob them of fun forever? Do they really deserve that? And what what did they do ever to deserve that? And what makes you think that you could sit there and give that judgment to someone else? You as being the bully. Perhaps it is that you are literally unknowing and ignorant of the path that it can become. But if you're watching this video and you're bullying somebody, oh man, don't do it. We can teach people that we love to really become a lot of stuff that no one no one ever wants them to become. Uh, I think I think I might have to eventually adjust my bit rate for my stream. Whatever. That's an EU. EO. Um, how things are connected. Interesting philosophic question. How are things connected? Uh, I'm super deep into philosophy though, but yeah, just me blogging, a one person listening to me or something. I I wish I knew so much more when I was younger. I think that I'm gonna stream at some point later on to maybe I should make a habit of doing that. Just getting on here every so often and at a specified time doing a stream of just me talking because apparently that's what I can do right now. I'll I'll think about more very like various topics to think about, but there's a huge chance that they'll probably be connected to something somehow. Which is funny because I had several thoughts earlier on probability and chaos. And those things are hilarious when combined. because the probability of it being chaos is 100%, but the probability of order coming through that chaos is 100%. Probability is weird in that, because the laws of chaos is that chaos creates order. The laws of order are that order creates chaos. Or conversely, those are just notable things that have a higher probability of actually being true or factually based, viewed over and over and over again with the same result. Or perhaps we look for it to be that way. I don't know. No one is perfect. Bullies can become the bullied, and the bullied can become bullies. I have not seen enough in life to know anything, and yet I feel like I've seen enough to have seen a lot of what I shouldn't have. Rolling internet joke, unsee juice. There is a way to make yourself forget so much. But in order to do that, you have to hide that pain and bury it so deep in your thoughts and everything else that it never rises to the surface again. But when that happens, you plant this seed that grows over time, that rots your mind to an awareness of why that feeling exists within yourself, but only a vague unawareness as to why. Psychologists call those repressed memories. And from a person that's had a lot of repressed memories, from my point of view, I've done things to other people and I didn't know why. And to a degree, it's it's strange to describe. Like I have PTSD, so it's like hard to talk about it like from that note. But like every time that a specific feeling would happen in me, I wouldn't know how to react or what to do, and panic overwhelmed me, and I would just start screaming. And in some instances, I don't know about what, I don't know what I was saying. And in doing so, I really traumatized another individual. And to me that that was just like, what? Why are you pissed off at me for that? I was class A. I don't know. Oh, every bad name, insult that you could think of in that moment. Yeah, that was me. Jerk. Over emotional. Yeah, but also unaware of it. Dangerous is what I saw myself as. Like a teeny little bomb with my 138-ish pound body. Just tiny ticking bomb of so much rage, and I didn't even know why. And all of my actions are only my own, and no one else can be faulted for them but me. Whenever a jury looks at me and my crime, do they look at my past? No. In a lot of ways, our society is so desensitized. We're like, grow up, everybody has a hard time. Grow up, blah blah blah. That that is easy to say, and yeah, everybody's had it rough in their own way, like third world countries. Oof, you know, we complain that we can't charge our phone. That's the country you're getting your phone from, man. Little kids in shops and stuff making your iPhone. But man, those kids deserve every penny that they get because they don't get bills. Probably not anyway. It's all connected. We're treating ourselves this bad because we deserve it. We're all sheep. No matter what the left or the right believes, we're all sheep. We all follow the thing that is at the moment. And we're like, okay, it doesn't matter if they're preaching violence, ambiguity, but we're this affiliation. So instead, we should rise above it all and do nothing. It doesn't matter that you do nothing. Because doing nothing is just as bad as doing the thing that's bad, you know? Stand for what's right and righteous. That being said, that is also a hard thing to determine. How does one stand before a God and know that that is indeed God? Oh, chapter 2. Haha. So, chapter 1, it's all connected. Chapter 2, how does one determine God? Um, Complex question. Because, from a standpoint, in our universe, it is possible to do so many things with a variant of technology. Does that mean that either technology is God, or conversely, that you could duplicate anything that God theoretically could do? I mean, if humans gained the ability to create a black hole, they could make something that they could not lift. But they'd also create an immovable force. It would move everything else around it and destroy everything around it. But uh, it would also be unstoppable. If it ever hit into another black hole, it would simply eat that black hole. If it was ever ingested by another black hole, it essentially becomes that black hole. It's indestructible, too. Like, a black hole's not God, it's just the object. The person that created it used technology. Technology is not God because uh, the person created it and it created something else. It, so the existence of God means that he could do the black hole, but through theory, he could also lift it. Because, I guess through technicality, he shouldn't be able to lift a black hole existing as a body. But if he does, he's God. Eh, or at least that's my thought on it. Or conversely, God stops the black hole. But I don't know. What is God? I think that because we're all connected, that we form something much larger, and that beyond our universe forms the multiverse. And the multiverse, with its multiple pathways and all connected, I guess, makeup, since we're like particles within all of that. It's it's sort of like this gigantic molecular structure that exists on a dimensional existence beyond our own. So, as dimensions go up, in my view, the closer you become to seeing what God is, because perhaps God exists in every dimension all the way down, but also everything in existence is a part of Him, the perfect being, conscious of all consciousnesses. Holy crap, right? Oh man, I just realized. Yeah, like from a scientific perspective, what religion really is, you have to look at scientific principles within religion because there are those. Uh, I read some Hindu texts that were describing various weapons of the gods, and one of them sounded like the biggest bomb that we have, a neutron bomb, but with an added bonus. Not only would it destroy uh, several cities, states, uh, no, it doesn't stop there. It destroyed the universe. A fire so hot that it could burn the very universe. If you think about it, earlier we had said about probability, that has to exist. We've determined that there's absolute zero. We've also determined there's a threshold of heat that can exist on the planet and out in space. But there has to be absolute hot, you know? Absolute zero is 0 Kelvin, and all molecular movement stops. It's it's like worse than being frozen. Suddenly, all of your molecules stop. Uh, that would be an insane drop of temperature, you know? But as it turns out, 0 Kelvin is like not reachable on this planet either. If at any point somebody generated a temperature that was 0 Kelvin on this planet, in my opinion, things would be catastrophic. Because it's like, I don't know. I'll Google this real quick. Zero Kelvin is minus 459 degrees Fahrenheit. In Celsius, it's minus 273 Celsius. Nothing in the universe or a lab has ever reached absolute zero as far as we know. Even space has a background temperature of 2.7 kelvins, but we do now have a precise number for it, minus 459.67 Fahrenheit, or 273.15 degrees Celsius, both of which are equal to 0 Kelvin. Yeah, I don't think that it would be good for anything on Earth to ever reach absolute zero. Although perhaps in the movie Incredibles, the person using 0 point energy was like what they were trying to perhaps insinuate was that he had made a mild extension of the temperature 0 Kelvin from his ring. But I don't know why it wouldn't have affected the robot if that were true. And the people within the field would like die too. You know, I'm pretty sure that hitting that temperature instantly would like kill you, and then waiting for you to warm back up afterwards would take a lot longer than instantaneous. Although, if you rose from the temperature of 0 Kelvin to room temperature instantaneously, you might shatter into like a bazillion pieces, you know? Because you are for sure like instantaneously frozen, right? Like beyond frozen. And then to go from instantaneously beyond frozen for however long, or then like a duration of being that, and then coming out of it and being instantaneously room temperature, it'd be like putting a cold glass pan into a preheated oven. Thermodynamics are super interesting. Like that concept is thermodynamics. How hot is affected by things? What does the temperature of things do to things? Because that alone is a chemical exchange. The variance between hot and cold is chemical. Adding heat to something is a chemical interaction. And I guess blah blah. I stuttered bad. A slow within the person's molecules is oh, oh man, there's a scientific term for it. Decay, molecular decay. Like that's why you can't escape death. Molecular decay. The whole universe is subject to it. Everything within it. At some point, all planets will die for some reason. Perhaps in some ways we have a hand in that. Perhaps in some ways we don't. I have not been talking for a little bit. I'm sorry. I like straight off into thought. I was wondering if I wanted to have a cigarette. I I think I might. You guys can't hear my music, and that's okay. Cause I got my desktop noise muted, but you know, oops. Oh, I don't want to make you guys sick or anything. Green is not your enemy. Nah. think that that might be good. You can't make money selling philosophy these days. So I wondered to myself, would I like to live in a world where I could make money off of philosophy? And it didn't take me long to say no, because I don't think that this world is suited for philosophers to get paid, because if you do, it's killing one way or the other. People whose philosophies wouldn't align with American company interest might end up in dirt, you know? Well, really, at the end of a rope. Power corrupts. If you had the money to change everybody's mind, make things disappear like they had never happened, or infinitely put things on hold, why wouldn't you? It makes a lot of sense to just go ahead and do that, you know? You got the money, you got the power. Why not? Within every walk of life, from being the poorest of the poor to being the richest of the rich, you gain a power. The poor have the power to overthrow the rich if they become too many. The rich have the ability to consolidate wealth and steal it from the poor, or to rule over the poor because of their status. One needs the other. But I think that when the poor kill the wealthy and steal their money, because that's what all of the wealthy are afraid of, it's constant fear. Why wouldn't you fear being robbed if you had, in your view, worked so hard to get all of that money? Especially if you had to sell your soul, or kill, or lie, or steal, or cheat, or connive. You put a lot of effort into that. Why let that slip through your fingers? Do everything that you can to keep it, to get more. Because that's the capitalistic society. More, 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 more of everything. We have the most this. We have the best this. Buy, buy, buy. Again, I analyze. I look at a multitude of possibilities, statistics. Statistics can be made up on the fly. It's the truth about statistics. Overall, the odds of it happening are there. Sometimes, due to circumstances, the odds are high. Sometimes, due to circumstances, the odds are low. Circumstantially,
Most politicians, corrupt. Most people would say all politicians are corrupt. There's got to be some good ones there. Through, like, worldwide, excuse me, worldwide, there has to be some existence of somebody who is a good politician, whose heart is in it for the people. He's not in there to make money. Or she, they, them together collectively. Because the odds of one existing are there, the odds of more than just the one existing are there also. Slimmer odds, but you know, it, it still it still adds up in probability factor per se, because everything within probability and statistics is all based off of a factor of the information that you have. If you understand what your country's population is, understand how many people live within your specific region, you could determine with a fairness of probability of how many people of the area, like what percentage of the population that they make up. You know, the whole area of the continent, the area group that you and your people are in. You could determine that, and it'd be pretty accurate. It wouldn't be 100% accurate. It'd just be pretty accurate. You know, it works off of an average, but yeah. So, oh snap. Chapter 3, Statistics and Probability. I feel like I'm a YouTube professor. That's what I should just become. Yeah, it's probability. When when I find that I am determining probability on a specific thing or about specific circumstances, because that's all that you can apply probability to. Applying probability for the entirety of your life is a working model. For me personally, it hasn't worked out very well so far, because when I try to let other people in on my viewpoints of what I see as being possible versus unlikely within scenarios and circumstances, I get told that I'm wrong, and then it happens, and I'm like, and they're like, fuck off. Sorry. And I'm like, man, like I I tried to help. That's all I did. Like, I tried to tell you that the probability of what you were saying is happening being a good thing. But everybody in life's got to take different paths, and we all look at probability differently. We all calculate it differently. How it applies to our life happens differently. Everything's connected. I am mildly focused on a task at the moment, so I'm having a bit of like a mixed brain activity. I don't multitask very well. Although to be fair, right now you see that I'm listening to music. I'm talking to you about a bunch of different topics, all jammed into one topic. But what you don't see is that I'm also hand rolling a cigarette because tobacco is for people 21 and older. And I do not condone underage smoking or uninformed smoking. You should know that smoking causes emphysema and other terrible things that you really, really don't want. And if that wasn't bad enough, your lifelong habit could also become so addicting that you cannot quit. Tobacco is like meth. Although I don't know that I've ever seen somebody suck a dick for a cigarette. I mean, no one's offered in in my experience. So I'm sorry. That's sorry. That's not a professional thing to say in my class. My apologies. I want peeps to be able to, be able to laugh and be in the jokes. I don't want to cross lines or go too far. My apologies if you feel like I did. It's very valid. I don't want to take that away from you. I've been told that I invalidate people's feelings. I'm trying to work on that to be a better person because we're all connected and I don't want to treat myself like that. So I shouldn't treat my friends like that either. Either. Yo. Occasionally, I am practicing implementing Japanese speech into my. I'm trying to learn Japanese, is what I'm saying. Often I'll just say words in Japanese because I'm thinking something along the lines of the phrase. And in some cases, it just, to me, sounds cooler. So, because Japanese is like a cool language. You don't say shut up. You say politely, you're being noisy, but you're implicating that like it's kind of annoying and you're upset about it. So like instead of being like shut up, you could just be like you just say like just out of the breath, slow, quick, pretty easy. I'm like kilobytes. I'm 2 megabytes under. Bro, this thing good, man. I don't know why. I'm like hardwired into my router. I'm not even kidding. Dual LAN ports. Ah, actually, I got it. It's because my Wi-Fi sucks. But it's all I can get in this area. I wish I could teach you guys more. Well, not that anyone really watches anyway. It says I have one current viewer, but I think that's me. Mm, man, I was supposed to have like quiet music on so that we could just think. Yeah, forgot about that. But I've had like 3 hours of sleep. Insomnia will kick you in the butt, man. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this blog, man. I to get all of this stuff out of my head, 'cause there ain't gonna be anybody listen to it when I'm dead. We're all connected and everything, and somebody else will hear bits and pieces of my ideas later on down the line. And if I'm thinking these thoughts right now, there's got to be somebody else out there thinking these exact same things or something pretty close to it. And to a lot of degrees, or on many levels, which is ironic, I look at the world around us as a gigantic computer code. I I may be genius. I may not be. I'm not sure. But perhaps all I'm doing is ever looking at physics from a theoretic standpoint without ever looking at any of the numbers or anything like that. I just imagine it all being connected, and it just makes sense that way. Okay, alligator, apple, both A's. Bear, alligator, both animals. Um, fire, person, eat and breathe. In my opinion, fire is living. Which is weird because I'm saying that just that temperature of space itself is alive. All that heat and energy that's moving, it, it's taken on a living form. It moves around everything, eh, which could be true. I mean, there was at one point a time where we thought that the universe might just be a flat line. During that time, uh, and to be fair, I'm not talking like 100 years ago. My older brother told me that I was insane for thinking that the universe was egg shaped, ovular in shape. My brother told me I was insane. And this was like 1997. Doesn't doesn't seem that long ago, does it? 1997. But at the same time, like, what? Because this is something that he had learned. That the universe is flat. There are lots of diagrams that show our universe as being a flat existence. I I wonder to some degree what makes people think that round objects would come out of a sphere because it's Big Bang Theory still that either from a mass planet that was a ball and blew up and created all other balls of dirt and spots of gas. I think that is being like so weird. None of it even adds up. I mean, it's plausible, but at the same time, like, what? And then to suggest that this round object exploded outward in a straight line and all material went outwardly straight in a flat line. Even if that happened from an infinitesimal point of absolute nothing and it exploded, would it explode outward in a straight line as a straight ring? I don't think so. Would it jettison everything out in a straight line? Nope. Why? Physics says no. Like, there would have to be an immense uh, gravitational well like thing that rotated at the start of the impact or the initial outward growth of the explosion of matter into existence. If humans evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Darwinism explains that the reason that there are still monkeys is because it's a subsection of our species that went a different evolutionary route and still remained. Kind of like how, excuse me, there are various breeds of dogs or whatnot, or like different sizes of cats that exist. You know, a household cat versus a tiger, big bears, little bears. But yeah, now that's a pretty good point. That does imply that we are a separate species than all of them. But when we look at our DNA, it's like we're a combination of so many species. And it's like, what? Why? Why is that, too? How how through probability did you determine the existence of mankind? Whew. Chapter 4. I've lost count of what chapter we're on, really. Oh man, bad news is playing. You haven't listened to it. Maybe do. Sorry, I got into the music a little bit. It happens from time to time. I have music to distract me from the thoughts that are happening inside my head because it's on such a level and I think about it to such an extent that everything in front of my eyes disappears. It's like I cease existing here, but I'm still existing at the same time. And I'm existing on a higher level of thought and perception, but at the same time, still only to the extent of my human capabilities, which sucks. Because I feel like I could get better at it, but at the same time, I feel like it'll make my brain melt. And what I would explain as melting brain feeling is uh, it's like the worst migraine that I've ever had, and intense panic. Uh, like as I'm sitting there thinking about it so hard, my head starts to hurt, and I can't stop thinking about it because at where I am in the thought, it's too compelling to resist trying to see further. And it's usually on such a scale that it's like crazy to think about. Because you have to connect your eyes with your heart, with your head, with everything that you don't see, and only what you could feel at what you know is out there. The black hole at the center of our galaxy, the great attractor that moves our galaxy around something huge. To be fair, the great attractor is a it can't quite be classified as a supermassive black hole because it's so immense that we don't know what it is, but it has a gravitational force that's strong enough to rotate 4 galaxies around it. Biden stream for like an hour and a half. Oh, actually, I think it's done. No, it says 25:49. It's almost up. Uh, Maybe I'll talk more later. Good night. Good morning. Have a good day.